Grandpa's Camp. Is it for grandpas or for the grandkids? In this episode, I'm going to address why our annual Grandpa's Camp is the favorite getaway for our grandchildren. And grandpa too. You should watch this if you have grandchildren and want to bond with them. So, my name's Doug Andrew, and most people view me primarily as a financial strategist and a retirement planning specialist because I've been doing that for people for more than 48 years. But I'm also a husband to the same wife for over 48 years. And my wife, Sherry, and I, we have 6 children and 20 grandchildren as of the recording of this episode. And about 10 years ago, we started an annual tradition called Grandpa's Camp. And I could not stop this now if I wanted to. Our grandchildren honestly tell us this is their favorite family retreat or vacation of the year, over going to Hawaii or Disneyland. Yeah, why? So let me explain in this episode, what is Grandpa's Camp? What do we do? How can you do them? Because it always piques the interest of people when I speak to audiences, and they want to know what in the world is Grandpa's Camp and what do you do there? So here we go on what Grandpa's Camp is. My wife and I began to realize that, we didn't want to have any unacceptable regrets at the end of the day, that we didn't take every opportunity to bond with our children and grandchildren and be able to give them an experience where they were away from their parents and actually give their parents a break where they could, go on a little husband and wife retreat or whatever, but be able to bond with our grandchildren and leave behind a true legacy. And so we teach principles, and we have all kinds of activities at Grandpa's Camp. So what is it? We gather together with our grandchildren in stages once a year. It's usually in the summertime in the month of June. You can do this anytime. We have other retreats and so forth, but this is the one where the parents are not allowed to come until the final day. We have tweaked them through the years, and so we usually invite those that are 12 years old and older up until age 19 or 20, and then they can come back and help facilitate, okay? But they come for the first 4 days. And we do high adventure. This is where it's very intense. We do high adventure activities. We go hot air ballooning or rappelling or whatever. And we do more rigorous type of activities. But we also talk teenage talk. And we talk about the true messages and lessons that we learn in life. The things that we want them to know the truth instead of asking their peers who may think they know it all and they don't, okay? And so we really bond with our grandchildren during these experiences. So they come usually for the first 4 days. And then we have the 8-year-olds and older come and join me with the 12-year-olds and older. And the younger ones, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds go with grandma. And they may stay with her in the cabin, and the others with me, we camp out in tents or whatever. So you can do all kinds of various activities, but we all come together and we have our meals together, our themes and our lessons and activities, and the grandchildren teach each other because the teacher always learns as much or more than the students do. So when we first started this tradition about 10 years ago, we began to learn from each year's experience. So they keep getting better and better and better because we fill out what is called a Better Life Circle at the end of each year's Grandpa's Camp to keep improving what went right, what went wrong, what could we do better. And actually, the first year, they were all combined. And one of the ideas we got after the first year, well, let's bring in the 12-year-olds and older for 3 or 4 days before we bring the younger ones, okay? The little toddlers, they stay home with their parents, but you can come to Grandpa's Camp, and man, do they anticipate this every year. I announce it in December. The theme, we always have a theme. And so, America, the land of liberty, or put on the whole armor of God. We're Christian, and so we teach a lot of Christian principles. And we will teach all kinds of concepts, how to be responsible and accountable, how to be a possibility thinker, how to let your light shine, all kinds of themes that we have on our Grandpa's Camp. They know that 6 months in advance. They come, they get a t-shirt, they get a ball cap, And they all are assigned to teach their cousins some aspect of the theme and to conduct an activity. And oh my heavens, these are over the top. And of course, I teach some around the campfire. Grandma teaches some, but they teach one another. And is it all just learning? No, we get together in the morning, afternoon, and evening for the lessons for about 45 minutes to an hour. The other times we're riding four-wheelers, we're shooting bow and arrows or 22s or BB guns or whatever. We're hiking, we're rappelling, we're hot air ballooning, all kinds of activities, okay? This is an incredible opportunity to get away. You build anticipation for your grandkids and you plan camp activities. So I actually have in a book I'm going to gift you at the end of this episode ways that you can plan your own grandpa's camp and the type of activities and ideas that we have done, and you can learn from ours. And so before I share with you a few ideas, if this is intriguing you, make sure you subscribe to this channel and post a comment, click like, and share it with somebody else. They go, hey, we ought to do this. We ought to get Dad to do this for our kids, okay? I've had many people tell me they did that. But subscribe to the channel. I want you to not miss out on these kinds of ideas. I post an in-depth concept like this almost on a daily basis on this channel, and it's free. But stay with me to the end. I want to gift you a copy of my book that'll show you how to conduct and plan your own grandpa's camp. When we talk about planning, we integrate the activities throughout the day, a lot of fun, and we integrate life lessons. We have discussions. I have 22 thinking tools, especially for the teenagers that they fill out, on how to do critical thinking, how to become a possibility thinker, how to make decisions, the solution formulator, the Better Life Circle, the project clarifier. We have 22 different thinking tools, and they leave Grandpa's camp empowered, actually with tools that many, many kids never do learn, even in college. There are 12 principles that the colleges and universities do not successfully teach our kids today. And the list is in the book. You'll be blown away. And that is the criteria or the curriculum that dictates what we do on Grandpa's camp. We teach them the things that the schools are not effectively teaching, okay? Because they can't. They're not being politically correct or whatever their excuse is. And so we want to teach our kids and grandkids in a language they can understand instead of walking on eggshells, if you know what I'm talking about. You build anticipation and you reminisce often. So I'll give you a story. After the first year of Grandpa's camp, my grandson Ethan, he was turning 6, he would ask his mom every day, how many more days till Grandpa's camp? And this was in January. So his mother finally made a Grandpa's camp chain to hang up in his bedroom, made out of colored links to a chain, pasted together. And a link was a day of the month. And then he would label, when Valentine's Day and Easter was and his birthday and so forth. And so he got to wake up every day and cut off one of the links of the chain, and he could physically see how many more days till Grandpa's camp. So he would stop asking Mom how many more days till Grandpa's camp. He was so excited. It was incredible. The next year at Christmas, he had this big box ready to give Grandpa for Christmas. I opened it up, and it was my own Grandpa's camp chain to hang up in our 30-foot-long sunroom because he did not want Grandpa to ever forget how many more days till Grandpa's camp. Yep, and if he ever came over, he wanted to make sure it was accurately done. In fact, he was such a smart whippersnapper at age 6. He equated that when he went to sleep and woke up, he could cut off a link. And so he started taking more naps because he thought he could cut off more links every time he woke up. Yeah, he loved Grandpa's camp so much he wanted it to come sooner than later. And he's still that way, and he's 14 years old today. Go camping now. Plan a Grandpa's camp. Have a theme. I want to gift you a copy of this book, Entitlement, Abolition. There's an entire chapter on how to plan and carry out a Grandpa's camp with all kinds of ideas. There's also links there to our website. This is about you connecting and bonding with your grandchildren. You will understand that learning can be fun if you make it fun. So the book I've been talking about is this 200-page book. It's called Entitlement, Abolition. Why? Because you will begin to abolish any kind of entitlement mindset and teach your grandchildren responsibility and accountability, how to not blame or justify or operate in shame, how to not play the victim role, how to be a contributor, a producer in society instead of just consuming, instead of asking, oh, poor little me, will you pay for it? Can I have? See, that's the entitlement. And one of the best ways that we help our grandkids not get that kind of a mindset or mentality is to teach them at Grandpa's Camp. So this is the 12-chapter book. One of the chapters is on just Grandpa's Camp. And so instead of paying $20 on Amazon, I want to gift you a copy. Simply go to entitlementabolitionbook.com, entitlementabolitionbook.com. Click on the link below. And you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost. I'll pay for the book, fire out a hard copy to you. But when you're in there getting your free copy, check out if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn. I've even done an 18-hour masterclass on how to abolish entitlement mindset. And there's one whole episode in there about Grandpa's Camp. So this is for your brighter future with those that you care about. And there's even a chapter in here on how to do this for your employees with retreats with a purpose. So here you go. Claim your copy.